right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
In one second, and you ruined somebody's life. You took a father away.
Tonight, a call to action from a woman grieving the loss of her fiancé in a fatal motorcycle crash, raising awareness for an illness that's impacting millions.
You could be carrying the trait or the gene for the disease and not know it.
What health officials want you to know about sickle cell disease.
Not much rain today throughout the bi-state, but there were a few spots. But this is much more promising. As we look off to the west, this developing overnight will impact us. How much rain we're going to get and why it's just one of multiple rounds on the way.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Robert Townsend. Soak up the last night of summer while you can. Some of the bi-state could see rain to begin the fall season. Meteorologist Gary Frank has more on our weather impact forecast.
Yeah, good evening, Robert. We're looking forward to it. Finally, we can go to bed and wake up wet pavement, wet roads, and a little bit of soaking rain, and we haven't been able to see that in a while. Now, it's dry right now in most spots as we look down Market Street, very calm, and still incredibly humid, but that's how most of the day has been with 82 degrees right now. A south breeze and more of that humidity still settling in, but as promised, not much rain. Watch how it kind of faded as it worked its way in. That's why it was so hot. Now, there were some spots in the Metro East, Mount Vernon, south of Litchfield, pretty much closer to central Illinois, where that rain kind of split us, reformed and worked its way in. We're going to see more of this. That was along a warm front that settled in. This is along a cold front that's really settled from Concordia, but along that entire area, closer to Kansas City, working its way past Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Harrisonville. That's all going to push its way across I-70 into the overnight hours, giving us our best opportunity for rain that we've seen in quite a while. Low 70s, temperatures cooling off, but our main weather impact on Sunday is you're going to start off with early morning rain. Heavy at times, as early as 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but then just mostly cloudy the rest of the day. I'm going to time that out and talk about promising amounts tomorrow and why we'll see more opportunities on Monday as well.
Now, with temperatures cooling off, expect more motorcyclists on the road. New tonight, a deadly warning for drivers after a father of 2 was killed in Ellisville last week on his bike. Annie Kroll joins us in the newsroom after sitting down for an exclusive interview with his fiancée about the tragedy. Annie.
Robert, James Allen Maneri was hit on his motorcycle on September 12th while leaving work. Tonight, his fiancée told me she doesn't get to marry the love of her life now because of what she says was an impatient driver.
Just a split second, and your whole life has changed.
Paige Schmidt and James Allen Maneri, who went by Allen, got engaged last January after dating for 5 years. Growing up in O'Fallon, Missouri, they met through motorcycle riding.
He was a hard-working man, and it was perfect. It was so perfect.
But the dream became a nightmare when she tried to track her fiancé's location last Thursday. Allen was leaving work as a mechanic at the Ellisville Ford dealership. Schmidt noticed his location pin had stopped.
And then I started thinking, well, maybe he got pulled over. Maybe he got pulled over. Hoping he got pulled over. And I call him 2 more times, and I text him again, are you good? No answer, of course.
Allen was hit by a woman making a left turn out of a shopping plaza near Clayton and Clarkson Roads. Schmidt says he was killed on impact.
I remember looking back and I see my mom running across the street to me. And she just holds me and she says she's sorry. She's so sorry.
Allen leaves behind an almost 4-year-old son and 10-year-old basically stepdaughter. Last year in Missouri, there were 171 motorcycle deaths according to the state's Coalition for Roadway Safety, a 40% jump from 2019.
And people just need to pay attention and look. The signs that say, look twice, save a life, they're real.
Allen's father, who he shared a name with, was killed in 2017. Also while riding a motorcycle.
Nobody would have guessed that. It would have resulted in the same thing happening to him.
Schmidt says since 2 James Maneris have died riding, she won't let it happen again. But how drastically has this changed how you handle motorcycles, how you handle motorcycles with your children?
Yeah, my first reaction was, we're selling all the bikes. All the bikes are gone. My mom, you gotta sell the bike. Everybody, that you have to get rid of your bikes.
Schmidt said she's still waiting to see the full police report, but wants to pursue charges against the driver who hit her fiancé. If you'd like to help the family, we posted a link to the GoFundMe page on KSDK.com. Robert?
Andy, thanks for that. Tonight, St. Louis police are still asking for help identifying the men who broke into Crown Candy this morning. The burglary happened a little after 4 a.m. The men broke through the glass front door only to steal what amounted to $5 in coins. Now, police say they got away in what they think is an older model Nissan Rogue. Anyone with any information is asked to call police or leave an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. That number, of course, is 866-371-TIPS. We've got until the end of the year to spend money from the American Rescue Plan Act. In St. Louis, several small business owners feel left out. That's after seeing politically connected families receive funding. The St. Louis Development Corporation, which oversees the grant program, says they have only deployed 10% of the $37 million available. 5-Year Side found addresses for businesses or nonprofits that were initially awarded grants led to vacant properties or empty lots. One in the 22nd Ward led to the former headquarters of a convicted alderman. Now, in light of growing concerns, the SLDC says it's reviewing all applications.
We will be awaiting funding any additional ARPA grants until we can verify every one of those businesses or in business and actually meet the criteria as set forth in the program.
The SLDC says the goal of the grant program was to, quote, provide support and stability to businesses post-pandemic. Hours ago, a blood drive helped raise awareness for a disease that impacts millions across the globe. Sickle cell, that's the disease we're talking about. It's the most common genetic blood disease in America, primarily affecting African Americans in this country. Our Mercedes McKay explains why donors are crucial right now.
When you know that you could possibly match to support a sickle cell patient, you should run.
Bringing awareness and education to a disease that impacts millions.
You could be carrying the trait or the gene for the disease and not know it.
The American Red Cross hosting a citywide sickle cell blood drive Saturday, advocating for those who live with the genetic blood disease.
It touches so many different people and in their lives, especially in the Black community.
Rosemary Britz is one of the many whose life has changed forever because of sickle cell. Her daughter Ronisha passed away just 5 years ago at the age of 29.
She was an amazing warrior. She fought all the way through her life. She lived and did the things that anyone else would do.
It's her daughter's strength and story that led Britz to start her nonprofit, Sickle Cell Association.
We work to bring awareness of sickle cell in the community in an effort to reduce the number of babies born with the disease to unsuspecting parents.
It's that kind of awareness that had 30 people lined up within the first 30 minutes of the blood drive.
While we celebrate sickle cell awareness in September, these patients need blood every single month. Some need multiple blood transfusions, and without our blood, they may wait for blood.
1 in 3 African American blood donors are a match for people living with the disease, which is why Anthony Thompson brought his whole family to donate.
If anybody needs any help, it's the African American community. We have to give back to help each other if we're going to survive and thrive.
That mentality is the whole reason Britz does what she does, with her daughter's memory at the heart of it all.
Even though she's gone, there's other people that are living with the disease, and this is being helpful to them.
Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
We have much more information on sickle cell disease and how to help those suffering from it right now. Just go to KSDK.com. When global grape crops were in peril,
it was terrible. I mean, they estimate like 60% of European vines were killed.
St. Louis stepped in. How Missouri scientists saved the world's wine. Getting fired up in Forest Park, a look at the hot air balloon race, wrapping up the last day of summer.
It's no surprise that we're still in the midst of a drought, but the rains overnight and over the next couple of days are going to take a big hit and big dent into this drought. What that means for us over the next few days and how much rain we can expect.
Well, hours ago, the city of Pine Lawn hosted the first of several national night out events in North St. Louis County. These events are hosted by the North County Police Cooperative, which is partnering with 9 municipalities through next month. Now, National Night Out started about 40 years ago. It's now grown into a way for communities across the country to get to know their local law enforcement and beyond.
So this just shines a light on the not just the community, but on different aspects of life. So we have different vendors out here which could show kids different career paths, not just policing, but other aspects of life and other careers.
8 more National Night Out events are planned to pop up around the county through October. Now, those will be held in Dalewood, Wellston, Hanley Hills, and more. Today, the Missouri Film Office used Tower Grove Park as a training ground for up-and-coming filmmakers and producers. Their primary objective, learn how to scout out for film and TV sets at local businesses and homes. Now, the class was put on with the help of the nonprofit Continuity, an organization that aims to expand diversity in Missouri media production. Today's event follows a 2023 legislative tax credit passed to boost Missouri's film industry.
As we continue to stay dry right now, for the most part, clouds are still around, but look at all this rain out to the west. Finally, we can say that's moving in, but we'll time it out for you and talk about the rainiest part of your Sunday and Monday over the next 48 hours.
Welcome back. September is Missouri Wine Month. Harvest season is in full swing right now, but is it true? Without Missouri, we could be living in a world without wine. Our Ann Allred verifies.
Missouri has a rich history of winemaking dating back to the 1830s. But is a story about Missouri saving the global wine industry a myth? Let's verify. Is it true Missouri scientists saved the world's wine from being destroyed? Our sources: Allison Miller, St. Louis University's Danforth Plant Science Center, Dean Volenberg, University of Missouri's Grape and Wine Institute, and the Missouri Botanical Garden. Trouble began in the 1860s when a tiny bug hitched a ride from the Midwest to Europe. This pale yellow aphid, known as Phylloxera, is barely perceptible to the naked eye. Due to its underground habitat and its ability to reproduce asexually, the insect caused destruction completely unnoticed for 20 years.
European vines that had never experienced this before was terrible. I mean, they estimate like 60% of European vines were killed as these little aphids started chomping on the roots, and the roots just couldn't handle it.
Phylloxera also started affecting grapevines in South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. It was estimated the wine industry would be destroyed in another 10 years. That's when Missouri comes into play. The Missouri Botanical Garden's first advisor, Dr. George Engelman, joined forces with Missouri's first state entomologist, Charles Valentine Riley. They discovered Phylloxera was the culprit after noticing North American grapevines were not affected. The reason? Our vines had built up a resistance to the native insect. They figured out through grafting, or the fusion of European grapevines to North American root systems, the new plant would be resistant to the pest.
Grafting it involves clonal propagation. So you're literally putting the same grapevine on a different root system.
It was a success. Over time, the overseas wine industry slowly recovered. We can verify, yes, it's true. Missouri scientists saved the world's wine from being destroyed. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on your side.
If there's something you'd like for us to verify, send us an email to verify@ksdk.com. Here's a look at the Great Forest Park balloon race today. We all know it's been a St. Louis tradition for more than 50 years, one of the longest running races of its kind, get this, in the country. Professional hot air balloon pilots from all across the nation came to town for the event, the big event. Of course, growing up as a kid, I couldn't wait to get to Forest Park and check out all those cool hot air balloons gliding across the sky. Gary, and today really wasn't a bad day for it.
Yeah, and they're very particular about going up, too. The winds over 10 miles an hour, they're not going up. You know, they're very, very particular. So weather is extremely important with that. Obviously, I want to get up there when there's lightning. And there was rain around the region, but not so much here. 82 degrees still. We got to 94. It's incredibly humid. We have a south breeze at around 5 miles an hour. 94 today was the 5th warmest on record. Not a record, about 3 degrees shy, but still pretty warm for this time of the year. We're still pretty warm at this hour. In fact, we're above our average high temperature even at this hour. You'll notice where the sharp front is. We have 50s behind it, 70 here, still 87 in Tulsa, and that's the area that we're watching for more of that humidity that kind of settles in along that front. And what we're going to see is, while we had scattered showers throughout the day along a warm front, for the most part, most of that fizzled out. What it was doing was really starting to moisten up the atmosphere in the mid-levels for us ahead of this more moist area that's going to settle in. And that's going to kick in overnight ahead of this. You'll notice how that's starting to fill in. That's what we're looking for, and that's finally what's going to bring us more of a steady rain. You'll notice how it's moving from a west to east component. That's what we're going to see, a wide wall of rain, more of that fills in, and that's where we get our widespread rain from. So I think over the next several hours, we'll see past midnight. We'll really see past 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when rain starts to settle in. You hear a rumble of thunder. Finally, the soaking rain settles in, and I think most of us are dealing with it by 6 o'clock. By 8 or 9 o'clock, watch how most of this fizzles out, and 9 or 10 o'clock, I think it really starts to die off quickly. So I think a lot of tomorrow is quiet. So let's focus on the overnight hours, because I think our chances really ramp up after about 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's when I think between about 4 and 9 a.m. you're going to see your best bet for rain. We'll push that through here, and then other than a few showers dragging, I think really midday it's pretty quiet but cloudy. Things should be cooler, and for tomorrow, temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s for the most part, but our better chances start to die down by about midday with a slight chance throughout the rest of the day. We're around 80 degrees. It's pleasant still, but there's our soaking rain in the morning. Then we get our break throughout the rest of the afternoon, and then by Monday morning, we're going to see another round of storms that settle us in the first part of the day and then is off and on throughout. And as this system finally pushes its way out, I think we're going to start off with some pretty nice rain on Monday, even further to the south. And I showed you this days ago, but as we continue to look at some updated numbers, this is good news. A lot of us are averaging over an inch and many areas over 2 inches. So I think that is the best opportunity. Now, most of this is tomorrow morning, but through Monday, we'll see periods of showers and temps only in the mid 70s. We'll see things dry out pretty quickly, I think, on Tuesday. And it's a lot cooler pretty consistently, but you know, we really need the rain. It's very dry, and this is actually our best signal. So we've tried to find a way to lose out, and here we are. We're going to get it finally.
Yeah, finally. Gary, thanks. Michaela, what's next in sports?
All right, well, coming up, Vanderbilt takes Mizzou into double overtime in a nail-biting finish, and fans get a first look at what the Blues have to offer this season as they hit the ice down in Dallas.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Last week, Mizzou had to pull from behind to secure a win against number 24 Boston College, but we all knew this week would be the real test of exactly how good this Tigers team is. Missouri faced Vanderbilt earlier this afternoon in their first SEC showdown, and it was a battle to the very end. Corey Miller brings us coverage from Columbia.
At the end of the day, the only number that really matters is the tally in the win or the loss column. Mizzou is now 4-0 on the season, but it was quite an adventure to get to that point in their SEC opener against Vanderbilt. To say Mizzou's initial SEC impression for 2024 wasn't great would be putting it mildly. The Tigers had trouble with Vanderbilt all day long in Columbia. The first half did see another Brady Cook to Luther Burton touchdown, and some Nate Noel breakout runs on his way to 199 yards on the ground.
Nate Noel balled out. You know, without him, we don't win that game.
But the scoreboard had a Vandy lead at half. And in the second half, the problems persisted. Blake Craig missed 3 field goals today. Brady Cook struggled to find his receivers downfield. And at the end of it all, we had a 20-20 tie and an overtime SEC opener at Faurot. In OT, Brady and Luther connected again for 6, and the kicking problems eventually bit the Commodores as they missed a field goal to extend the game, giving Mizzou a 30-27 victory.
Like a weight just dropped off my shoulders, man. It's a great feeling, man, to just know we had that victory.
It's a win, but you won't find any satisfied Tigers here.
You know, our standard's higher. We expect more. I expect more. And, you know, that's just kind of where we're at. You know, we're not settling for anything this year.
Enjoying a win, being 4-0, which is as good as we can be record-wise, but we're not as good as we can be play-wise. And we're going to have to settle in on that and figure out what we got to do to improve.
The Tigers have a bye week on deck before they head down to College Station to face the Texas A&M Aggies at Kyle Field in an attempt to stay unbeaten. Reporting from Columbia, I'm Corey Miller, 5 on Your Side Sports.
And the Blues are back in action, baby. They played in their first NHL preseason game down in Dallas against the Stars. Let's take a peek at their debut. First goal in the second period for Dallas, Kyle Capobianco let it go from the Blue, and a pinball goal here. Oh, wait, hold on, pass from the Blue straight in. Stars having some trouble coming out of their own zone, and Kapanen able to capitalize. Blues lose their first preseason game to Dallas 2-1. Cleveland officially knocking the Cardinals out of the playoffs this season after a 5-1 loss last night, and the Cards will spend the remainder of this season trying to finish at 500 or above, and that goal started tonight at home. In the field, Thomas... And here we go. Let's get to it. Oh, hello. We're back with the Blues, baby. We already saw these, but you know what? We are going to talk about this Cardinals game because before the game, the Cardinals honored the 1999 St. Louis Rams Super Bowl championship team. They were able to speak with the stars about their performance and the day and how we are honoring their legacy here in St. Louis.
It's a title that will never diminish. It'll only grow because you still have teams trying to replicate what we had. I think they can do it from a schematic standpoint, but personnel, I don't think it'll ever be done again.
We're in the history books forever. And what we did as a team, what we went through, how we challenged one another, then to be able to call ourselves champions for the rest of our lives, it's a great deal.
Well, sorry for those technical difficulties, but for those who were at the Cardinals game, what a day. We got the win 6-5, and we got to see those stars come back and get honored for that legacy.
Big sports day. Thanks a lot. Gary has a look at our final weather.
Yeah, pretty quiet outside for now, but rain will be arriving for the first part of the morning. So it'll be nice to track some rain and have a soaking rain for us the first part of the day, and then another rainy start on to the week on Monday.
Alrighty, thank you. That's all of our time for 5 on Your Side at 10. Saturday Night Live is just ahead. Have a great evening, everyone.